Hi, welcome. It's lovely to see you. It's Monday. Here we are. And there was a request from our friend Jacqueline, who is currently working as a park ranger in Yellowstone National Park. And I like love seeing her pictures of Yellowstone show up in my Instagram feed. It's like so beautiful and so inspiring, especially like living in this concrete jungle to get all these beautiful images of nature. And she did mention that she has been, on her feet a ton and really feeling her hip flexors and her hamstrings. And I thought that it was interesting that she said that, because I feel like, generally speaking, most people feel their hip flexors and hamstrings because they're not moving enough. Like they're like sitting in desks like this most of the day, and she's just like up on her feet walking around Yellowstone and feeling them for different reasons. And, I think that one of the ways that the practice of vinyasa yoga specifically is such a boon is because, anytime our bodies are sort of stuck in a particular movement pattern, we're going to feel it. We're going to feel the negative effects of that. And there are some styles of yoga that work with a particular sequence for a very long period of time or forever. Like there's not a ton of variety, and there are nice things about that in that you get, really familiar with them. But the reason that I have always been drawn to the flow practice is because we can vary the load, we can vary our transitions into and out of poses, and we can vary the way that we do the pose itself. And when you vary movement and transition and load, typically speaking, our bodies are happier, right? Because we're moving in ways that are more in harmony with how we were evolved to move, which is in multiple directions and for lots of different reasons. So we're going to be focusing in our practice on how, really essentially, from the bottom ribs to the top of the thighs, this section here is really the bridge between the upper and lower body. So we're going to be starting on our back. We're definitely going to be using at least one block, and if you have like a thick quilt or a beach towel that you can fold up a bunch, then we're going to be starting on top of that. So I'm going to ask you, actually, before we come down onto the ground, let's just take a moment to stand. And I'd like for you to take your block and place it between your upper inner thighs. And you can, face whichever direction is good for you. I'm going to kind of face on this diagonal because I think it's the more efficient view for you to have. And, place your feet in a way that's comfortable. But try to spread the weight evenly from the big toe ball mound out to the pinky toe ball mound, and then from the front part of the foot back to the center heel of the foot. And then you can use your hands to help you feel this. I'd like for you to spin your inner thighs in, back, and wide as if you were trying to get the block to push back between your legs. And as you do that, your pelvis is going to tilt anteriorly. Right, so now we're taking one of the attachment points of the psoas. Iliopsoas is a really powerful hip flexor, and it's one of the muscles that connects the spine to the legs, the pelvis. And then place your hands on your hips and pull down, and then pull the bottom ribs back. So we're not necessarily trying to tuck the tailbone under. You don't want the thighs to roll so that the block pushes out in front of you. Try to keep the block pushing back behind you, but pull your ribs back. And then have this sense of length from the upper inner thigh across the front of the hips, across the pelvis, and almost like unfurl the vertebrae one atop the other, and then interlace your hands together behind your head and press your head back into your hands. So you might feel a little bit more weight in your heels. That's okay as long as your toes aren't gripping. Thighs back, low belly back, ribs back. So we're not trying to lift up, we're trying to take the ribs back. And then press your head back, draw your shoulder blades back, and let your arms rest down by your sides. And then fold your hands over your belly. And as you breathe in, you can even close your eyes if you'd like. Allow the belly to expand outward into the hands. Keep the inner thighs spinning back. As you exhale, you kind of gather the abdomen in and draw the ribs back. So you feel the back bottom ribs almost lifting up away from your pelvis. Relax the jaw and the shoulders as best you can, and we'll just do a few more breaths in this way. The expansion with the inhale, and as you exhale, gather in through the waistline and lift the back bottom ribs up off the pelvis. And so one of the reasons it's nice to work on the dynamics of breath is, well, because connecting to your breath is kind of, it's forced mindfulness in a way, but also as the diaphragm rides up and down the inside of the rib cage, its fibers, its muscle fibers, its attachment fibers actually massage the top of the psoas. Just a few more breaths here. Releasing your arms down by your sides. Inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky. Shift more weight into the right leg, and as you press down through that right leg, reach up through the right arm, not so much into a big exaggerated side bend, but just creating more length. And again, take the top of your right thigh back, take your right ribs back, and see if or how that changes your experience of side body opening. And you can let your head kind of loll off to the left, especially more if you're feeling some neck tension. That might feel really good. Just kind of let your head hang down towards your left shoulder. Take another breath in, going more for length than side bending. And then as you exhale, stand on 2 feet and just let your right arm lower down by your side. Inhale, floats the left arm up. Shift your center of gravity over the left leg. Thigh back, ribs back. As you reach down through the left leg, reach up through the left arm. And again, you can let your head kind of loll off to the right. So just notice if there's a lot of weight in the outside edge of that left foot. Try to stand evenly on that foot. Just creating more space to that left side. Another breath. Exhale, stand on 2 feet. Float that left arm down. Inhale, reach both arms overhead. And lengthen through both sides simultaneously. So from the waistline, press down through the heels, and from the waistline, lift up. The back bottom ribs, especially the sides of the ribs, especially lifting up. Keep the shoulders soft, the jaw soft, and slide your throat back. So there's this feeling of being stacked, throat over ribs over pelvis for another breath in. Exhale, bend your knees, stick your bottom out, and take your hands to your thighs. Kind of pop your hands onto your knees. So inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. So as you widen the sitting bones and tip your pelvis back, so notice how the front ribs kind of flare out. And then exhale, do the opposite. So now scoop your tailbone under. Now pull your bottom ribs way, 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 way back. So the body typically works like a seesaw. So inhale, feel the seesaw effect here, how the ribs kind of flare as the bottom goes back. And then as you exhale, scoop the tail. And you can really focus on the upper abdomen drawing back. So now we're moving the origin of the psoas back in space. And then we're going to try and do both at the same time. So spin the block back. So upper inner thighs spin back, hands to your thighs. Just for a moment, look down towards your bottom ribs. Without rounding a whole bunch, you're just going to lift your belly button away from your thighs, yes, but then also especially lift the ribs. Good. And then from there, bring your fingertips to touch blocks or floor. And push the thighs back and let the top of the head drip down. Take a nice breath in. Open your mouth, let it out, let the head and shoulders hang. You can give a little shake no or yes. And then press your fingertips into the floor. And it's like active core work here in the forward bend. Try to lift your bottom ribs up away from your thighs so you feel the mid-back almost balloon up to the ceiling. So here I'm pressing my arms straight. I'm pressing my feet down, my thighs back, my arms straight, and lifting my belly up. Good, and then bend your knees, remove the block, and you can roll up to stand. And just set the block aside. So if there are any questions about that, please feel free to let me know. And then set up your folded towel or quilt up on the ground. So it's up on some height. So your pelvis will be on that padding, that elevated padding. And the feet can come actually a little bit wider apart. And fold your hands over your abdomen again here. And you can turn your head to the right. And feel those nice, gentle belly breaths, abdomen expanding up into your hands with the inhale. You're also feeling this broadening and release through the left side of the neck and jaw, and softening with your exhale. Just notice the feeling through the hip flexors here. Like if I've touched mine with my hands, if I palpate, they're actually pretty soft. And then on your next exhale, gather your abdomen in towards your navel, lift your head, and turn it as far to the left as it will easily go. Head heavy, invite the left side of your face to widen towards the floor. Keep your pelvis heavy, abdomen is soft, and moving easily with the breath. And you can envision in your mind's eye how as you breathe in, your diaphragm moves down towards your pelvis and massages the top of the psoas, that tender loin muscle. It's very, very deep, and then it goes very superficial. It crosses the front of the hip joint and then angles back to the upper inner thigh. Just one more breath here. Exhale, gather the abdomen in towards your navel. So feel how your core engages and helps you lift and turn your head back to center. Now you can heel toe your feet maybe a little bit wider apart, and then keeping your left leg as is, so we're not quite windshield wipering, you're just going to drop your right knee in towards your left foot. And if you lift your head and take a peek at your pelvis, you'll probably notice that the right side of your pelvis is slightly lifted and sort of turned towards the left side. And then lay your head back down. So I just wanted you to feel that. Feel your left big toe on the floor. And just let the weight of your right leg fall in. Right knee's moving towards your left ankle. And then you can reach your right arm up and then encourage more length. So keep your ribs soft, right? The moment you flare your ribs, you're actually like shortening the psoas muscle. So keep your ribs back. Try to feel the back bottom ribs on the ground and just create more length through that right side, just like you did a moment ago when you were standing. And take another breath here. Easy, subtle inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, float your arm down by your side. Draw your bottom ribs back towards the floor and unwind until you feel the right pinky toe on the ground. And then second side, drop your left knee in. So it's the same action as you would for windshield wipering the knees. You're just doing one leg at a time. And then again, you can, if it helps you to have a visual, lift your head and take a peek at what's going on in the pelvis. And rest your head back down so you can feel now. Moving out of the visual, moving out of the thinking mind and into the feeling body. Next breath in, floats your left arm up. Keeping the ribs soft, the back of the ribs, the shoulder blades heavy on the floor. Just add a little reach, left arm reaching more towards the top of your mat. Relax your jaw. Feel the weight of your head against the floor. And take another breath. And then exhale again, unwind. So initiate, the breath leads the way, and then draw the bottom ribs back, low belly, and unwind. Heel toe your feet closer together. And then from here, please straighten your right leg. So try to draw your ribs back. So it's a little bit of that forward bend action that we were playing with. And then also gently press your heel down and try to take your upper inner thigh back towards the blanket. And then reach your leg away from you. So just easy opening. I feel it from like down in my low belly on the right side, down across the front of the hip, down my thigh a little bit. So it might be a little bit different for all of us. And then exhale, gather your abdomen into your midline, press your left foot down, rebend your right knee, and then second side, extend your left leg long. Try to draw the ribs back, draw your thigh back towards the floor, and then add a little bit of a reach, left leg moving away. Just taking the time to get embodied, to get curious, to feel, to notice what comes easily, what maybe not so much. Ground the right foot down, gather your midsection in, and then press your left foot down. Now ground through your heels. lift up off the blanket and slide it out from underneath you, and then lower down. And then it's just like for you to do like we did a kneeling cat-cow, basically cat-cow on your back. You're going to tip your pelvis back and forth just a few times, and using not only your feet and your legs, but your core. And feeling how as the upper inner thighs spin away, so this is the action of spinning the block out behind you, that your pelvis tilts into anterior pelvic tilt, and then as you exhale to take your ribs back and your belly back, your thighs kind of roll forward. Now try to find somewhere in between. So you can even take your hands to the tops of the thighs, gently press them away, and then as you exhale, also draw your ribs back. And what does that feel like through your midsection? And then lengthen your legs and flip over, please, onto your belly. So you can come into Sphinx pose. Curl your toes under and tug the elbows back towards your hips so you feel your chest broaden. And then look down the front of your body and press your forearms now down and away from you, and keep lifting your bottom ribs up, and then keep lifting your waistline up, and then lift your pelvis up. So you're now in like a kneeling forearm plank type of position. Now straighten just your left leg. Lift your upper inner left thigh to the sky, aka lift your bottom to the sky, and then lift your bottom ribs up away from the floor. Good. And then just notice what that feels like, how the core can engage but be in this lengthened state. Now drag the right knee and the elbows towards each other. See how that fires things up a little bit more. Stay long through the left, and then lower the left knee down. Great. And then straighten the right leg. And lift your right thigh to the sky, especially the upper inner thigh, and then lift your waistline and your bottom ribs to the sky, and then drag your left knee and your elbows towards each other, and then maybe put your head back on top of your spine, soften between the shoulder blades, and then lift your left knee, so long and strong through your core, through your body, and then slowly lower both knees down, and then lower your thighs, and then your pelvis, and then your belly. And here you are in Sphinx pose. So we're going to inchworm this a couple more times. Exhale, look down the front of the body. Press the forearms away. Lift your bottom ribs up. Lift your belly up. Lift your pelvis up. So keep really lifting, like ballooning the bottom back ribs up to the sky, and then lift your legs up. And then inhale, lift your gaze to the space between your hands. Thighs lift, bottom ribs lift. Exhale, slowly with control, lower your knees, thighs, pelvis, and belly. Inhale. Last time, exhale, look down the front of the body, moving sequentially. Lift your bottom ribs. Lift your upper abdomen, lift your navel, lift your lower abdomen. Lift, lift, lift. Lift your knees. Here you are in forearm plank. Inhale, lift your gaze to the space between your hands. Exhale, lower just your knees down and make your way up onto your hands and knees. Well done. So you can stay facing that direction. I'm going to turn to face you. So make your way onto your hands and knees, and you can always pad your knees if you like. And then extend your right leg straight out to the right side. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of padding the knees. I have carpet tile, so I don't need to, but please feel free. So feel what is best for you. You can either be on the inside edge of the foot, or you can work your foot into like a more standing foot where the pinky toe edge of your foot is on the floor. So we're gonna move through a few rounds of cat-cow here, right? So inhale, stick your bottom out, draw your shoulders back, lift your chest. And then exhale, scoop your tailbone under, lift your low belly, your bottom ribs push the floor away. And just feel, right? Inhale, opening up. Good, exhale, scoop the tail, lift the pelvic floor, push the floor away, lift the bottom back ribs. Inhale, inner thighs, spin in, back, and wide. And as you exhale, find neutral. And then once you've found neutral, keep the pelvis as is, but just lift your bottom ribs up a little bit more. So you might feel like a little bit of that forward bend action through the upper abdomen. Walk your right hand one palm's length forward and one palm's length to the right, and then take your left hand behind your head. Now push the back of your head against your hand and then rotate open from your torso. So the pelvis is fixed, hip bones are looking down at the ground. Now as you exhale, pull the bottom ribs in and then rotate to the right. So your left elbow is moving towards your right wrist or arm. Good, and then inhale, push the floor away, twisting open. Exhale, bottom ribs lift as you rotate. And one more. This time you're going to thread the needle. Exhale your left arm all the way across. And you can come up onto your right fingertips. And then again, reestablish inner thigh spin back. So you have like more of the neutral curve of your lower back, but your bottom ribs lift up. So you're really trying to fill, especially on the left side. One more breath here. And then press your right palm down. Inhale, unwind to tabletop. Make sure that the weight, so if you need to shift the weight over your left leg, now you're going to firm these muscles here through the outer right hip to lift your right foot up off the floor. Yeah, inhale, slowly lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, slowly lower. Exhale, lift. One more time. Inhale, slowly lower. Exhale, lift. Keep your leg on up there. Inhale, rotate your right leg straight back behind you. Exhale, bend your knee. Kick your heel towards your bottom. Take your left hand to your hip. Rotate open. And then the left hand reaches for the right ankle or foot. Spread your toes. So there's a big tendency to kind of flare the ribs here and dump into the low back. So for a moment, look down towards your belly button. And then lift your belly button, your bottom ribs up away from the floor. So try and find a forward bend inside of the back bend. And then kick your foot to the sky. Turn your head into whatever direction feels good for your neck. Take another breath. And then exhale, extend your left arm forward, your right leg long. And then place your right foot on the floor and your left hand to the top of your head. So now you have something to lengthen into. Like lengthen your spine so you feel that your head is pressing into your hand. Reach your right heel back. And then again, lift your right thigh up, and then lift your low belly up and your bottom ribs up, and then lower your left hand to the ground. So stay nice and long and strong through that whole right side, and then as you exhale, pull the hands and the left knee towards each other, and then press your left foot down so your left knee lifts to a hover. Yep, and then inhale, lower that knee down. Exhale, pull left knee and the hands towards each other, lift your left knee to a hover. So you push into the ball of your left foot to help you lift your left knee, but feel how hard everything is working, especially on the right side. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, slowly step your left foot all the way back to plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way down. Sweep your arms by your sides. Inhale, lift your head and chest up. You can roll your wrists if you want. Exhale, lift your legs up. 3. 2, you can even turn your head from one side to the other, and then lower down and rest. Take a nice breath in, and out. Slide your hands back by your ribs. Inhale, coming up for air cobra dog. So even here, feel how the upper inner thighs kind of spin up to the ceiling. Look down the front of your body and draw your ribs back. So you have that long toned psoas muscle. And then lift your chin parallel to the floor. And then exhale, pull yourself back onto your hands and knees. And then extend your left leg straight out to the side. Find the foot position that suits your ankle best. And then move through a few rounds of cat-cow here. Inhaling to open the front body. Exhale, round. Bottom back ribs lift to the sky. Really push the floor away. Feel the spreading of the back body. Inhale, tip your pelvis to the sky. Exhale, pull in and round. And one more time. So keep your inner thighs spinning in, back, and wide. And as you exhale, find more of a neutral spine. And then lift. You can even use your hand for tactile feedback. Lift your bottom ribs up towards the ceiling a little bit more. Now take your right hand behind your head. Head presses back into the resistance of your hand. Inhale, turn open. Exhale, bend your left elbow and twist. Sorry, we didn't adjust the left hand the way that we did with the right hand, so feel free to do that if you need to. Keep your left leg strong. Your left foot is alive and aware. And then thread the needle. Take your right arm all the way across. You can tent your left fingertips. One more breath. Really filling up, especially the right bottom ribs, lifting up. Good. Press your left hand down. Inhale to unwind. Shift the weight over into your right leg if you need to. Exhale, lift your left foot up off the floor. Strong, straight leg. Yeah, feel your outer left tushy. Wake up. Inhale, foot to the floor. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Use your core to help. One more time. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Keep it on up there and then rotate. Swing your left leg back behind you. Bend your knee, kick your heel towards your bottom. Foot to the sky, and then rotate open. So here we are, kneeling half bow. And then look down the front of your body for a moment and pull the belly and the bottom ribs up, like a forward bend action in the ribs. Spread your toes, kick your foot up. Turn your head to whatever direction feels good for your neck. Couple more breaths. And then inhale, reach the right arm long and the left leg long. Exhale, the right hand to the top of the head, get nice and long. Lower your left foot to the floor. Lift your left thigh, lift your low belly, lift your bottom ribs, and then place your right hand down on the ground. Inhale, long from head to heel. Exhale, tug the hands back, tug the right knee forward, and then press the ball of the right foot down to hover the right knee. Inhale, gently lower. Exhale, pull to the center and lift. Your left thigh is lifting, your bottom ribs are lifting to the sky. Inhale, tap the knee down, get long. Pull to the midline, exhale, hover. Now lift your right heel towards your bottom. Inhale, stepping all the way back to plank. Exhale, spin the inner thighs up towards the sky as you hinge back to downward facing dog. So if you need to at all adjust the distance between the hands and the feet, you can take a second to do that. Little lift in the heels and bend to the knees is totally fine. And then find those actions here. Inner thigh spin in, back, and wide. Low belly hollows out, bottom ribs lift up. And then can you find some ease through the shoulders and neck? Let your head go. Another breath. Step your right foot through to lunge and lower the back knee down for a moment. Come all the way upright and curl your back toes under. Now, as if your back foot was against a wall, I'd like for you to push the legs in opposition. So instead of being in like this deeper yoga lunge, find a more upright posture. And then push your left foot back so the knee is actually kind of pressing back away from you and the right foot forward. So you're pushing in this direction. And then find the stack of the ribs. Just a couple more breaths here. Just feel what it's like to be long and strong and stable and upright. Legs pushing away from each other. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, start to hinge forward. So stick your bottom out. So right, we're not going into like a big rounded spine. Stick your bottom out, hinge forward. Right, as you stick your butt out, lift your belly and your ribs away from your right thigh, and then take your fingertips to blocks or the floor, and then push both legs, straight-ish. I'm going to ask you to keep a bend in your right knee, but you'll lift your back knee up, keep a bend in your right knee, and then this time pull the legs towards each other. And then inhale, bend, back knee can tap the floor, and exhale, pull to this more sort of straight leg position. And one more time. Inhale. Exhale, knee stays bent. Pull the legs towards each other. Reach your shin bones back. Now just your front knee bends on the inhale. Your back leg straightens. Exhale, lift your back leg up towards the ceiling. Lift your belly up. So you kind of round like cat back and then climb both hands up onto your right thigh. So push your hands down into your thigh to help you lift your belly and your ribs away from your right leg. Yeah, is your back leg sinking down? Lift it up. Okay, from here, push off your back foot and find your balance over your right leg. Hands are pushing down into the thigh. Belly is lifting away from the right leg. And then squeeze the left buttocks to lift your left toes up off the floor into like a warrior three-leg position. And then as you inhale, tap your toenails to the floor. Left leg is strong and straight. Exhale, squeeze your butt. Lift your left toes to warrior three. Inhale, lower, tap. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower tap. Exhale, lift. Inhale, hands to the floor, step back into a lunge. Exhale, right leg to the sky, down dog split. Bend to the left knee is totally cool. Inhale, bend your knee, open up. Balloon your left armpit away from the floor. Exhale, right foot down, dog pose. Nice breath in. Exhale, step your left foot through to lunge. Lower your back knee down. Come to the fingertips. Make your way up into this upright marriage proposal type of lunge. And then press the feet apart. All right, so you want to fire up your rear end. Imagine your back foot was at a wall, push into the wall. Find that stacked position. So I feel like more release through my upper body when I'm stacked it this way. Inhale, take your arms overhead. Exhale, start to hinge forward. Stick your butt out behind you, hinge forward, and then lift your belly and your bottom ribs up. You gotta really press your left foot down. Take your fingertips to blocks or floor, and then inhale, push the legs, kind of sort of into like a halfway straightened position. Exhale, back knee taps the floor, front foot comes flat down to your mat. A couple more times. Now only your front knee will bend. Lift your back leg, lift your belly, push down into your left foot, kind of round like cat back, and then climb both hands up onto your left thigh. Yep, back leg lifts. Push your hands down into your left thigh. Lift your belly and your ribs up off your left thigh. Yeah, take aim, so lift your gaze. Push off your back toes. So you shift your weight over that left leg, and then squeeze your bottom and lift your right toes, and come to more like a warrior 3 position, left knee's bent. Inhale, tap your toenails to the floor. Exhale, lift. Inhale, tap your toenails. Exhale, lift. 2 more. Push your hands down into your left thigh, lift your waistline. 1 more. Strong, straight leg, squeeze your thigh. Inhale, touch the floor, step back to lunge. Exhale, dog split. Left leg to the sky, float the armpits up, float the ribs up. Inhale, bend your knee and open your hip. Exhale, step your left foot to the floor, downward facing dog. Inhale, wave through to plank. Once you arrive, feel upper inner thighs lift to the sky, bottom ribs lift to the sky. Exhale, chaturanga or all the way down. Inhale, come up for air, cobra dog or upward facing. Exhale, pull back to downward facing. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower all the way down, and then flip over onto your back. Interlace your hands together behind your head, and then draw your knees into your chest for a moment. So from here, split your legs. Your right leg goes to the sky, and your left leg actually goes all the way long, and it's okay to have that bend in your right knee, right? So what I'd like for you to focus on is you can point your elbows about halfway up to the ceiling. As you exhale, curl the head and shoulders up, and then feel how the upper abdominals work to pull the back bottom ribs more firmly into the floor. Now, can you also find that action of taking your left thigh back, aka more firmly into the ground, not by letting your leg turn open into Shavasana, but it's the inseam of the leg that's moving to the ground, right? So really focusing on the connection between the left foot and the back bottom ribs. Head heavy into the hands. And then using the muscle tone through the right thigh, just pull that right leg as close to you as it can go. Head heavy. Press your left thigh down, not just your heel, but your upper inner thigh down into the ground. Exhale, curl up. Every exhale, it's like a little pulse lifting up. Pull the right leg close, curl up. 4. Exhale, 3. Exhale, 2. Exhale, 1. Bend your knee. Take your left arm, so twist to the right. Take your left arm to the outside of your right thigh. Inhale, twist open to the right, so pull your right elbow back, and then as you exhale, curl up and try and get your right elbow to touch your left elbow. 4, inhale, open. Exhale, curl up and twist. 3, press your left thigh down, inhale, open. Exhale, curl up and twist. 2, inhale, open. Exhale, curl up and twist. 1, inhale, unwind, lie back. Pull your left knee in to meet your right knee, and then rock up to sit. Extend your legs out long. Maybe I'll turn to face you for this one. And you don't have to put a block down, but it can be helpful. So just as a visual, imagine that you had a block or a book on the floor between you. You can take your fingertips behind you for a little support. Inhale. Now you're gonna, as you exhale, fire the stuff on the right side. Lift your right leg, and you can tap your heel to your left toes, and then lift it over the block and set it down. Good. Exhale, fire the quad, the hip flexor, the abdomen. Lift and lower down with control. I find this so hard. One more breath in, press both sitting bones down, get tall. Exhale, fire up, lift, right heel taps your left toes, try not to let it come crashing down, and then lower. Okay, so you can cross your knees if you'd like. Make your way into like a little down dog. And then step your right foot through to lunge and lower your back knee down and come upright to that like marriage proposal lunge. Interlace your fingers. Firm your arms, find that stacked position. Push your feet apart, keeping your pelvis stable as you exhale, rotate to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate to the right. And see how the hands stay in line with your breastbone so you're not weighing your arms out to the right. And also feel how the right leg is super stable. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, unwind. So stay here. Exhale, rise all the way up, both legs straight. Get taller. Inhale, bend both knees, slowly lower. Push your feet apart, draw your ribs back. Exhale, lift. One more time, inhale, lower. Exhale, lift, pause. Inhale, bend just your front knee, hinge forward. Exhale, lift your back thigh up, lift your belly up and your ribs up away from your right thigh. And then a little twist to the right. Take your left upper arm to the outer right thigh. Push off your back toes. So staying in this twist through the upper body, can you lift your left toes up, just like we did before? Inhale, tap your toes to the ground. Exhale, lift. And that's 3. Inhale. Exhale, so you can always take one or both hands to a block if you'd like a point of balance. Exhale, 1. Now take your right hand behind your head. Press your outer right shin and arm against each other. Turn your belly to the right. Turn your right elbow to the sky. It's a little wobbly. It's part of the fun. Lift, twist, inhale, unwind. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Open your mouth, let it out. Hollow out your low belly, lift your pelvic floor. Lower your knees. Cross your ankles, bring your feet out in front of you, reach your arms out in front of you, and then slowly lower down. Try and find the action of taking one vertebrae at a time down to the ground. Interlace your hands together behind your head. Just rest a moment here. Draw both knees into your chest. And then split your legs. So take your right leg down on the floor and your left leg to the sky. And it's totally fine to keep a bend through your left knee, especially if that allows you to pull the left foot closer to you. And then also press the right leg down, way up high at the upper inner thigh. You can even give yourself a manual assist. And then exhale, sink the bottom ribs down towards the floor, pull them down towards the pelvis. Right, so instead of letting the pelvis tuck under, keep pressing the right thigh down. Curl up, curl up, curl up. Keep pulling the left leg close. 4 more breaths. 3. This is like a pretty active hamstring opener on the left side. Curl up, curl up, curl up. Press the right thigh down. Lie back. Bend your knee. Twist the right arm to the outside of the left thigh. Left hand is behind your head. Rotate open. Keep pressing your right thigh into the ground. Exhale, curl up. Try and get your left elbow to touch your right elbow, not by yanking on the head, but by using your core. Exhale, curl up. 3, 2, 1 more. Unwind, draw the right leg in, rock up to sit. Find that straight leg position. You can use your hands to help. Press the right leg down. Exhale, fire left quads, left hip flexors, belly. Right heel taps your left toes, and then lift up and set it down for 3. Lift and tap. 2. Lift and tap. 1. Cross your ankles. Make your way back to downward facing dog. Take a breath. Exhale, step your left foot through to lunge. Rise up into that 90-90 or marriage proposal lunge. Push the legs apart. Reach the arms out. Interlock your hands. Make your arms strong. Make your legs strong. Push apart. Press your left leg down as you exhale. Rotate to the left for 3. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate. 2. Inhale, center. 1 more. Inhale, center. And as you exhale, squeeze the muscles in the legs. Come upright. 3, get tall. Ribs move back. Inhale, resist as you lower down. You want your right knee to land softly. Exhale, stakes are high. Right. One of my teachers, Shiva, she says that the knees are like the Godfather. It's like the rest of your body just has to say, whatever you want, boss. It's a terrible fake Italian accent. Bend your front knee, hinge forward. Lift your right thigh. Lift your waistline, your bottom ribs. Press your left foot down, and then find that rotation, right hand to the outer left shin or thigh, wherever you make contact. Keep lifting and scooping. Push off your back toes. Lift your right leg. And then we'll do a few toe taps here. So look at the floor, look at your left foot. See where the weight is falling in that left foot. Really try to find that even distribution of weight, stability. And then take your left hand to the back of your head and then rotate open. Just do the best you can. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, unwind, touch down. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale through to plank. Exhale, lower halfway or all the way, yogi's choice. Inhale, coming up for air. Ribs back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take your right thigh through to pigeon. Walk your left knee a little further back. Take your hands wide, come to your fingertips. Bend your elbows. Pull your legs towards each other this time, and then lift your butt up. So take your upper inner left thigh back. Now look down into your waistline. Lift your belly. Now push your right knee, especially down into the ground. Lift your belly up. Try and lift your right hip up off your right thigh. Try and lift your bottom back ribs up here. And then you can come more upright. So if you have blocks, you can take your hands to blocks. Now using the strength through the back of the left leg, bend your knee. Left hand can reach back for your foot. Thigh back. So you're trying to take your thigh back to meet your heel as much as you're pulling your heel in to meet your thigh. Ribs back. Maybe for your right arm to the sky. A few more breaths here. Slow down inside. So our first really big thigh stretch. Ribs back, thigh back, ribs back. 2, 1 more breath. Okay, inhale, let that go. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Exhale, left foot through to pigeon, left leg through to pigeon rather. Walk your right knee back. Come to the fingertips, hinge forward. Lift your bottom up. So really you get more curve through the lower back here. And then exhale, lift your low belly up, lift your left frontal hip bone up off your thigh bone. Firm your right glutes. Come more upright. You can take your hands to blocks. Kick your heel in. Right hand reaches back for the foot. Lift your thigh to meet your heel as much as you're drawing your heel into your thigh. Draw your ribs back. Maybe for your left arm. A few more breaths here. Relax the neck, the jaw. One more breath. Inhale, let that go. Exhale, step back to dog. Inhale through to plank. Exhale, lower down. Flip over onto your back. So take a block at its second width between your mid, so just above your knees, your upper inner thighs. Return to this pelvic rock until you find a place where you feel both that the upper inner thighs are flowing back, so there's maybe a little anterior pelvic tilt, but that you can also access the upper abdominals so that the ribs, the back of the ribs, are moving towards the floor. From there, stand down into your feet, lift your pelvis. Take your hands to your pelvis and literally pull down towards your knees. And then notice if your glutes are firing to the point where your legs are splaying out and you don't have quite the ability to really hug into the block. If that's the case, lower bottom back ribs towards the floor. And when I do that, I feel like more length through the front of the thigh, the hip flexor. Inner thigh spin to the floor, hug the block. Push into the feet, lift, right? So the ribs, we're doing bridge pose a little differently. Back of the ribs are pulling towards the floor as the pelvis is lifting up. Inner thigh spin back, hug the block. Take your hands to the floor in line with your ears. You have the option to push all the way up. Now if you're feeling your back at all, lift your heels, bend your knees. Try and take your ribs back. Just let your head hang. A few more breaths here. And then lower your heels, bend your elbows, tuck your chin into your chest and lower down. So, one more. Let's take the time to really set it up. Right, so instead of low back flat, you can even push the block away, push your pubic bone away, and then almost like you're doing a sit-up in the upper body. Right, bottom back ribs are pressing down. Press into your feet, lift your pelvis, bridge pose. Take your hands to your hips, pull towards your knees, and then again, take your bottom back ribs towards the floor. See if you get a little bit more length through the line of the psoas. And then you can place your hands, if you're coming all the way up into Urdhva D, hug the block, big toes on the floor, come all the way up. So I know the outer form is a big back bend, but can the inner work be of kind of taking the ribs back, not in a way that's forceful and creates tension, but in a way that creates integrity. Hug the feet towards each other so you feel the block flush against the inner thighs. Last 2 or 3 breaths. And then tuck your chin into your chest. Lower down with control. Maybe feel the shoulder blades and the ribs, and then your lumbar spine lower. Release the block. Take your feet a little bit wider apart. Start by dropping the right knee in towards the left ankle, and then let your left leg follow suit. So moving into pinwheel pose. You can take the right arm out to the side or slightly up on the diagonal. Let's actually do this. Slide your right arm up by your right ear, and then we're going to take the upper body into banana pose. So you're actually going to kind of sweep your whole upper body over to the left corner of your mat. So the head, nose is pointing up to the sky, but the left ear is moving towards the left shoulder. Slow your breathing down. Your left hand can be maybe at your abdomen. And then sweep your upper body back to center, unwind. Take a moment to feel the difference from one side to the other, and then let your left leg fall in first. And then let your right leg follow. Reach your left arm up. And then slide your whole upper body more to the top right corner of your mat. Just rest your right hand at your abdomen. And be with the rise and fall of your breath, that soft belly expansion on the inhale, that gathering into the midline with the exhale. It's also a nice reminder to keep everything in the front of the body soft. And then sliding yourself back to center, lift your legs to center. You can either roll onto your side and come up to sit or rock up to sit. So if you'd like to sit up on a little bit of height for your seated forward bend, and get your quilt again. We're going to do it just a little bit differently today. So I'd like for you to take your hands to the top of your thighs, press your thighs down and away, and pull your belly back and up. So you might find a little scoop of the tail, but really what I'd like for you to focus on is on the ribs, the belly and the ribs pulling back, and then like there's a string on the top of your head. That's what's reaching towards your toes. You can slide your hands down your legs and reach for anywhere along the legs that feels good for you. And then firm your thighs and press your thighs down and use that as leverage to help lift your belly up away from your legs. And still, top of the head is reaching for the space between the feet. So maybe getting into the hamstrings a little bit here, yes, but it's also focusing on this deep core connection. The thighs pressing into the floor, and every exhale, the belly and the ribs lifting away. So there's a little bit of this balloon effect through the mid-back, top of the head to the toes. 3 more breaths. And bring the fingertips to the floor, roll up to sit. So this is where a wall is going to be really helpful. You can take your blanket over to a spot along the wall. We never kicked up into handstand. If you missed that, you can do it after class is over. Go ahead and bring your bottom up. So I like to sit like side saddle, not that I've ever ridden a horse that way, but imagine. And then roll onto your back with your legs up the wall. Pelvis is up on that soft padding. You just fold your hands over your abdomen. Close your eyes. And relax your legs as much as possible. So if you'd like to, if you have like a long sleeve shirt or a belt that you want to tie around your thighs or shins, feel free. I'm just going to let my legs relax and roll open to where they would naturally fall as if I was in Shavasana. And just take a moment to invite yourself into the stillness. Letting go of any effort. Letting go of anything outside this moment. Letting go of any judgments about your practice, attachment to outcome. Just allowing yourself to really rest in this present moment exactly as it is. Welcoming any sounds that you hear around you. Welcoming sound. Notice your breath. Feel your breath in your body. Feel the sensation of breath as it moves in through the nostrils. Where and how your body moves as the breath flows in. Sensation of the breath as it moves out. The movement of your body. The sensation of your effortless breath. Giving yourself permission to relax. To soften. Can the pelvis get even heavier? Can the jaw get even softer? to deepen your breath. Gently blink your eyes open, slide your legs down the wall. Roll onto your side. Take your time as you return to any seated posture of your choice. Bring the hands together in front of your heart. Just feeling the center, the midline, your heart space. Thanking your body. And as you bow to your heart, I bow to you. Namaste.